Jovie Belterra, and special guest, we have Larry Mallett, proof that Steve Mallett was not found under a rock.
I told you she was going to make fun of me. Welcome to you both. Dad, I'm glad you're here. It's exciting to have you.
Good to be here. Yeah, thank you.
Marilyn, thank you so much for being a sponsor. You guys have been great. We've loved having you as a sponsor. But now we want to know a little bit about you and how you ended up being are you the manager of Jovie? Is that what's your official position?
Yeah, I'm the community manager. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us. And Larry, thank you for waking up early to be here with me.
That is true.
It's 11:10 on a Tuesday. Life of a retired gentleman, yes. Yeah.
All the fun. Well, yes, my name is Marilyn, and I am the community manager at Jovie Belterra, which is Austin's or Belterra's newest 55 active adult community. So a little bit about me. I am originally from California. And
where in California?
I am from Riverside County area,
okay.
so Southern California.
I know that area well, yeah.
Yeah.
We won't hold that against you.
I was going to say,
promise.
Yeah.
How long ago did you leave there?
About 14 years ago.
Okay, well, after 10 years, you're kind of
Did you come right to Texas?
Yes, so what happened was
we'll give you the native Texan card.
Yeah.
You're all right.
I always like to say I'm grandfathered in because I have been here for 14 years, but also the military brought us here initially.
Okay.
My husband served at Fort Hood, or what's now known as Fort Cavazos, so...
That gives you extra credit.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Exactly, especially in Texas.
Yes.
So we're super thankful to be here, and of course, my journey starts off with Greystar for about 10 years ago.
Okay.
So it's definitely been so fun to be a part of, different communities and be able to serve. So, yeah.
Do you feel like you're acclimated to Texas now? Like you're used to the weather and
Riverside's
the people?
pretty hot.
It is.
Yeah.
It's really hot. It's just dry. So I can definitely do my hair and things will be great, aside from the humidity here. But I think so. I think I discovered I was very well acclimated when I typed in y'all in a text message. So that was definitely
Welcome to
something.
Texas, yeah. Did you grow up in the Riverside area?
I did. So between Los Angeles and Riverside.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
Did you go off to college somewhere in between all that?
I did attend a community college in Riverside County, so it's RCC.
Mm-hmm.
So that was exciting to be a part of that journey. And then my husband, when he was stationed here, we moved here. So
Marilyn, I did a little stalking. And you're really hard to stalk because there's also a Marilyn Bell that's a famous Olympic swimmer.
Oh,
I think, or your maiden name too. There's your maiden name also. There's also like a serial killer with your maiden name. So there was that also.
well, now
So it's
8,000 listeners are going to know our secret.
She's not the serial killer for sure.
Just want to
Once you
preface,
get to know
definitely not.
Marilyn,
Yeah, once you get to know her, she's
You'll know
furthest
she's
from
not
this. It's
the
always the
serial
quiet
killer.
ones. You got to
Yeah,
be careful.
yeah.
But I saw something on your LinkedIn that said that you worked with the Air Force Reserve.
I did.
What was that?
So I was a student clerk when I was in college. I was a student clerk working for March Air Force Reserve Base, and I was working in their finance department, of course, of all things. So my job was to accept their orders and give them to the people that were going to pay our troops. So yeah, that was really fun.
I bet.
Yeah. Close second with my position now, I would say.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, wow. So you move here, and then 10 years ago you started working for Greystar.
I did.
Which is the company that owns Jovie Belterra, right?
So we are managed by Greystar, but we're third party.
Okay, okay. And but you didn't start in this management position. What was the first position that you had?
Yeah, I was actually a part-time leasing professional, and it's actually a really interesting story because, as you know, I can be fairly extra, and as Larry knows with our pictures and videos, when my husband returned from deployment, I hired a photographer who worked for Greystar. I did not know property management or who Greystar was, but she comes to me, and as I was waiting for my husband, she says, you would be really good at leasing. And it was a part-time leasing professional position, but mind you, I had been waiting for my husband for 10 months, so there was just I was not thinking about having a position or a job at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah.
And so very quickly, that turned into, let me just go in and see how things work. And I secured the position, and I've just been so very grateful for that leadership team that had the patience with me to become, leasing professional part-time, and then eventually go up to assistant manager and now community manager.
You were in
So
Cedar
That's cool.
Park, right? Is that where you were?
I
Up
started in Copper's Cove,
Oh,
Texas.
okay. Yeah. I know
Mhm.
where that is.
Yep. And then previously, before Jovie, was Cedar Park.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Was it a 55 plus community that you were in?
It was not. I
Okay.
actually started my first 9 years with Graystar. We're in conventional. And this past year, it was active adult.
Okay.
So-
Active adult. I like that. We need to start using that more.
Active adult.
Active adult,
Yeah.
yes.
What? So, how is Jovie different from just other apartments? Then, what's the big difference?
Oh, there's a huge difference. Starting off with Larry here.
Yeah.
But I think that it's really, well, first of all, I think that my leadership has always been the same. It's really in the person and in the heart to do what we do and to be able to genuinely care for our residents and our team members who we're responsible for. But I think that one of the biggest differences is it's definitely more heart, I would say, an active adult. You become part of their families,
Yeah.
just like now. Steve, I would have never met you had
Yeah,
I
that's
not,
true.
met Larry
Yeah.
here about a year ago. Which, P.S., he is our first resident ever at
Very
Jovie.
first
So
resident at
very
Jovie.
exciting.
Yes.
So that I think it's the heart that really is more of the difference. You have more of a purpose to come to work and to be able to help out with not only your management, duties, your leases and things like that, but you're also able to be a part of something more.
Yeah.
And that's super exciting.
I know Dad says one of the best parts of his day is he comes down and says good morning to you all, and you guys give him a hug and get to visit.
Well,
and-
is it good morning or is it really good afternoon?
That's true,
Dad,
Michelle.
You've said that many times, haven't you? That you like going down there to the office.
Yeah, it starts my day really well. Yeah, I go down and get a hug from Marilyn and Sydney and Liang even.
Oh, yeah.
And Audrey.
Liang.
Audrey, yeah. So, yeah, I go down and get a hug every
Yeah,
morning.
that's great. The heart thing is interesting to me because I didn't expect that when Dad moved in there. And you guys are so friendly and so supportive of the residents, and you try and get them plugged in and feeling like part of a community there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. It's probably our favorite thing.
Yeah.
To be able to go in there and see, and so many relationships have built from that too. And I think that's the other part about active adult is it's not transactional. We really want to make genuine long-term relationships, and I think that that's something the whole team as a whole we can definitely agree to the fact that makes all of the difference.
Yeah.
And again, it's all genuine, so it makes going to work fun and seeing everybody super fun.
I got a question for you then, because I swear you're like the happiest person I've ever met. I've never seen you frowning or not
Wait a
have a
minute.
smile. No.
She really is.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Sorry, Michelle. I know that it is not roses and rose-colored glasses every day. How do you keep this positive attitude every day when, that somebody's toilet's backing up and, vendors dropping stuff off, you don't know what it's for? How do you keep this positive attitude?
Yeah, well, I can definitely, thank you for saying that. My husband might disagree sometimes.
I've never seen that side of you.
But no, I definitely do think that even in situations like that, I'm grateful that, first of all, I have the ability to react to the situation and be able to provide comfort to a resident that might already be experiencing discomfort, with whatever it is that's going on. I think that a good example is our winter storms that we've had, and unfortunately, we've been impacted, not at Jovie, but in my career, we have been impacted with multiple homes that are affected. And I think at that point is, aside from being a management leader, how are we going to be able to best assist our residents as people? So making sure that we're doing things the right way, making sure that we're providing heart and support as best we can. So I mean, there's been times where it's Christmas Eve and there we are helping out a resident, and even my husband. It's really a whole affair. It's a whole family affair for everybody.
I have seen your husband there many times helping out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I need you to let your guard down a little bit. So when somebody comes in and they've had a really unfortunate event and they're being mean and kind of nasty, how do you handle that? Because I know it happens.
She turns their
It does.
electricity off.
I'm like, this is where I go back in my chair.
Yeah.
No, I think that it's really listening at that point and being a good listener, trying to see it from their point of view as well. Not every conversation ends positively. It just doesn't. And sometimes that's tough. I'm one of those that I will take it home and try to figure out how I could have best assisted in that situation. But often I think that maybe sometimes a resident will realize, oh, I was a little too harsh, they'll apologize. Or maybe there's just, at the end of the day, how can we try to make it better? You know, if that wasn't the right decision at the time, then how can we grow and move from this? Because we highly value all of our residents, but I think that definitely listening and trying to best help at that point is probably the easiest.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about the misconceptions of a 55 and up community, because I have had to kind of correct people in the sense that, oh, this is just another level or another step of an assisted living facility, and you don't have nurses on staff. I mean, it's all independent living. And so what do you think in regards to a 55 and up active community, that what is the most misunderstood thing about it?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, we have just evolved in the apartment industry, especially with active adult. I think that one thing to consider is that our residents are active, they're independent, they are, actually, my husband's best describes it best when he says it's like living on a cruise ship. And you are just, you know, you're getting your calendar of all the events, the lifestyle piece of active adult really makes a difference. And Audra, myself, and Sydney were more your cruise directors, except, and I tell this joke all the time, so I apologize for those that have heard this before, but we just don't come around and make your towel animals for you. But we can definitely add a towel animal making class if we'd like.
I think you should. That would be a great opportunity. What about also, here's another kind of off the cuff question. What about the love scene in an active 55 and up community?
That is a good question.
Oh, she's looking at Larry. She's looking at Larry.
I don't know what that means.
Have you seen some romances blossom in Jovie?
I haven't seen any. No, I haven't.
Oh.
Larry's like, I'm missing out.
Yeah.
He's blushing.
You know, there's only 4 single men who live in Jovie. And there's, I don't know, 50 single women. I don't know how many single women.
That's indicative of, though, that
that what I hear is 4 eligible bachelors then at Jovie Belterra, right?
your dance card should be full.
Yeah. And you're one of them.
Yes, I am. Well, I don't know about eligible, but I'm a bachelor.
You're kind of set in your ways, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I have my routine. I like my routine. I don't like to have it disrupted. Yeah.
Oh, I wonder where you get that from.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
I have the same thing. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Marilyn, you were saying about the events and things like that. I went to one of your events that you put on, the Elvis impersonator.
Yeah.
That was fun, wasn't it, Dad?
It
We had
was
such
fun,
a great time. How do you come up with all these ideas for that stuff?
You know, it's all together as a team, you guys. We literally do sit in our leasing office, Audra, Sydney, and I, and we're like, well, what kind of things do we want to do? And we also involve our residents. So I think right now we're fairly new to where we want to make sure that we're curating the events that our residents want to partake in. So if they want to see Elvis, and you know, Larry here didn't want to dance that day, but somehow we got you up there.
Yeah.
But I think that you know, it's all collective. It's community, it's team, and we're going to put it on the calendar and see how it works.
Yeah.
So a lot of the things that we do, happy hours, birthdays, Elvis night, which that was super fun.
Marilyn, do y'all still have the farmers market? Are y'all still doing that, or y'all will do that seasonal?
We don't have the farmers market anymore,
Okay.
but we are thinking of new ways to be able to still be a part of the community and bring some of those events to the community as well for people to visit us.
Was that a Gray Star decision, or was it the City of Dripping Springs decision?
On the
on the
the-
farmers
The farmers.
market. On the farmers market?
Uh-huh.
No, it had more to do with the traffic.
Yeah.
I just don't think that our Belterra area, the vendors didn't see as much traffic as they would have
Okay.
liked
Yeah.
for them to be successful.
I think it was because the stuff that you had there was really good. I think it was the location, front of the building there, and at 12 o'clock it was, even in April, April or May, the last time we were there, it was hot. That's probably what hurt it the most, was people couldn't spend very much time there.
much time in the summertime.
Yeah.
Also, it can be pretty windy, so that's the other piece for making sure our tents are being secured and things like that. But we did run it from September through, I want to say, April. It was
Yeah.
September through April, and it was great. We met so many new people in the community, and not only that, our residents got a chance to partake on Sunday mornings.
We
rolled
spent
down.
quite a bit of money
Well,
there ourselves.
That is the
didn't we?
thing
Yeah.
I find
We
interesting.
spent a lot
At
of money
Jovie,
there.
they, in addition to all of the amenities, like the fun stuff, like you said, the pool and the pool table and the poker room and things like that, there's an area where you have like refrigerators. So, right, that they can drop off their food, or what was that?
Well,
It's homegrown.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
the
homegrown.
so they can come get their milk. There was a little. It was like a little.
It's like natural stuff, though. It's not just like HEB milk, but it's organic, local produce and milk
That is
products.
correct. Yes, actually, that's a partnership with Homegrown, which they are in Dripping Springs. Quick shout out to them. We are grateful to be just a pickup location for them. So they really run everything from eggs to fresh pasta to produce and baked goods. They really are the superstars behind that.
How have you guys been trying to get integrated into the Dripping Springs community?
You've done a good job with that.
Thank
But
you.
Tell us how you've been doing.
Yeah, so I think when we initially got here, that is always key, right? Is for us as team members to be a part of the community we believe in and we're a part of. So a lot of that has to do with some of the events that Dripping Springs does, like our Christmas on Mercer, Founders Day, which was super fun. I've never been to that
Oh,
before,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
that was a fun time. And just making sure that we're good citizens of the community. Any volunteer opportunity, which I know we've talked about briefly before, but anything like that we can be a part of and support is really where our heart is.
Yeah.
So, and it's something Greystar encourages, and so does our ownership. So, I think it's why we've been so successful. Is it's really in us as a team to be able to go out and support.
When you took this position, did Greystar give you like special training to take this position and run with it the way you have?
No,
Really?
I mean initially yes,
Yeah.
but I always like to say too, even when you hire, you're hiring the people for who they are as a person, and everything else can be taught. So in my case, yes, I've had such great leaders in my path and in my journey that have taught me to be the leader I am today. But necessarily for active adult, there are tons of opportunities for training, whether it's WebEx courses or sometimes even reaching out to our own regional manager, which I know Larry has met me for, Judy. She's been incredible, and the whole active adult team have been great in me transitioning from conventional to active adult. So, yeah, super fun.
What did you know about Dripping Springs before you came out here?
Well, I knew it was a hill country, I knew the wineries, and I knew that it was definitely beautiful. I came from Cedar Park, so North Austin area, making the switch over
Yeah, I know.
making the switch over to Dripping Springs, I thought was just the best thing to do for for my family, for my husband and my pet Penny. So I think that it's been great so far.
Yeah. I do you want me to ask her rapid fire questions?
No, I've got.
Okay.
Let's do that at the end.
Okay.
What do you think Marilyn? What do you think the most important thing an aging person can do to continue to stay engaged and have a good quality of life? What are you seeing over there at Jovie?
I think that it's definitely, we see people all the time that don't initially want to engage or partake in the lifestyle piece. But I think that once they do, even just going to one event and being around like-minded people that have maybe experienced the same things that you might have, or even start off with our team, which sometimes they do. And in, Larry's case, he's actually in charge of our resident directory.
Yeah.
So we see him fairly often. He used to come in with tangerines. I almost thought he had a tangerine tree growing in his yard with how often it would be. So, yeah.
Keeping them sort of focused on the other residents and not letting them just lock themselves in their apartment and kind of be by themselves.
Yeah, being engaged, I think, makes all of the difference. And even if it's personal one-on-one, we've had some shy residents too, and our team does an incredible job in making sure that they feel comfortable if they don't want to come to an event, or maybe we bring them food from an event, and the next time they'll come out and, they'll want to partake.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think one time we were there for our Dripping Springs Elite meeting, and we all went to Larry's door, and we knocked on his door, and he answered in his pajamas.
That's right. You were not expecting that,
He
were
was
you?
like, who the hell are all these people outside my door?
Bunch of realtors all dressed up, yeah.
What time was that? Was that in the afternoon? Or?
Yeah, it was like 2
3 o'clock in the afternoon, yeah.
It's happened once or twice after that, too.
Yeah, I know.
Well, Michelle was saying, but before you guys came in, what was the blue zones? That one of the most important things as you age is to stay engaged and continue to have friends. So I think it's super important that you encourage those residents. I'm sure there'll be some that won't
Yeah.
participate, but to encourage them to get out and make some friends.
Yeah, for sure. I think that it takes time sometimes, and we are starting to see our lifestyle events grow, which is nice too. Our community is growing as well. So the more personalities that come in there, and again, they partake in, maybe as they're chatting, they can form relationships.
Right.
And something like a good example actually is Romeo,
I was just
them
gonna
getting
say that,
together.
Yeah, Dad, you want to tell us about Romeo?
Yeah, well, Romeo stands for Retired Old Men Eating Out. And we go out every other Thursday. We've been going to the Oak Creek Cafe, and I don't know if I can give them a shout out.
Yes,
Of course you can,
But,
yeah.
we really enjoy them. We enjoy going there. So that's our Romeo group.
Yeah. What do you
And
guys
there's
talk about?
Oh, you would be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not adult conversation usually. It's just about life.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't talk about anything. No politics and no religion. We don't do any of that stuff. So.
If you want a lively conversation, though, can
Well,
say,
I've been-
how did you vote in the last election?
I know. I've been tempted, but I haven't got the nerve.
No, I don't think that's good. But
Steve and I are going to show up one day. We're just gonna pop in.
I told you to ask the guys in the group, what do they still have on their bucket list?
I asked that the
That's a
other
good
day,
one.
and I didn't get much of a response.
Really?
No, I got a couple of responses from things they wanted to do but never got around to. But,
Yeah.
and it kind of died out. Yeah.
That's a good question. Sometimes the team will come up with daily questions, and so we will ask our residents, if you could go back, what can you change, or things like that. And sometimes we pull out the tissues, and again, it's more of that personal feeling with our resident. But that's a really good one. What's on your bucket list? I'm going to try that.
What is some of the things that I think if something that stands out for you, something that a Jovie resident has taught you, or that you've kind of gone home with, and you're like, wow, okay, I didn't have that in my.
That's a good question, Michelle. I feel like I think about things all of the time. We sometimes often get the, whether they've experienced loss, or, they're grieving, or where we can come in and be helpful in that aspect. I would say that a big one that I hear often is downsizing. So we often hear, we've lived in our home for 65 years, and that is incredibly tough to now go into more of an active adult lifestyle
And
where
pick and choose what, from your materialistic
Yeah.
stuff, what's important
I
to
bet
you.
that's-
from the past 65 years.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of the times I do take that home, and I'm like, I can let go of that. It's not something that it's a little easier for me to let go of, just personal items at home, but also experiences, and I think often whenever I've asked some of our residents, if you can go back, what would you change? It's always been spending more time with family and being more present. So I know that, that's something I always take to heart, is the importance of that. And I think that sometimes we often forget in the hustle and the bustle of every day and how fast our 8-hour, 9-hour, 10-hour days go. But that's something super important. And I'm grateful. Some of our residents encourage me and the team, hey, it's 6 o'clock. You guys have to go home. It's either that or you guys are throwing parties after we leave, one of the two.
It's been a big blessing for Holly and me to have my dad moved here close to us. You were living in North Carolina, and we only got to see you once in a while, and now we get to see you a couple times a week. It's been a big blessing in my life.
It has been great. It's been wonderful.
And your life over there it's not super complicated, which allows you to keep your schedule and do the things you want. You're not having to mow a lawn and take care of a house and all
Larry,
that.
That leads me to what was the decision for you to finally just do it and move here to Dripping Springs?
Well, I don't think we can talk about that.
It was just time. It was time.
It was time, but no, but being close to Steve.
One of the things was that you and I had become kind of separated. Over the years, you had your life, I had mine. I was in the Navy. I was moving around. You were moving around. And I just thought it was time that we tried to get back together again, and it's worked out really well.
It has, We've been able to rebuild the relationship that had been pretty fractured for a long time.
Do you feel like it has helped your relationship as well? I'm asking
with my dad.
With your dad.
I don't honestly. The relationship we had prior to you moving here wasn't much of a relationship. We would go. No, I think there were times we were 2 or 3 years. You and I didn't even speak, even via email.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but I mean, and I'm not saying that to make any, to blame or anything. But we were both equally guilty.
Well, you're both just living life.
Life gets carried away,
busy.
And it does.
So since you've been here in Dripping Springs, here in Texas, I'm curious as to one of the biggest changes. And that's HEB. What are your thoughts on? What are your thoughts on our grocery stores here?
Well, there's only one.
Well, one so far.
But it's a good one.
It is a good one.
It is a good one. Yeah, it gets me out and gets me dressed. It gets me dressed up a couple times a week.
Yeah.
I thought it was Heb when I first moved here, and I got corrected. I got corrected on that. It's a great store. But when I first moved here, I was looking for a Kroger or an A&P. They don't exist.
No Piggly Wiggly here. No.
It's HEB or nothing.
Yeah. Well, and if you're going to only have one, you need to have a good one like
That's
HEB.
right.
That's
We're
right.
pretty proud of our
it's
HEBs.
good. Yeah, they're very good. They're very nice stores.
Yeah.
Larry, do you think that as you have gotten older, do you think it's harder to meet new friends? Like if you just decided to live in a normal apartment, not a 55 and up, not where there was active activities all the time, do you think it would be harder?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They schedule a lot of activities, and you go and you sit around with people and you talk, and I've made a lot of nice friends, a lot of good friends here.
Kind of pulls you out of your comfort zone a little bit in one sense.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and sometimes I have to kind of force myself to go to an activity. But I usually
the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
I force Steve to do activities too.
Yeah, and I'll go to some of those activities, and after about 2 hours, I look at Michelle and go, I'm exhausted.
I know. It's like you've peopled way too much today.
Marilyn, I got a couple questions for you. They say that 55 is the new 35. Are you seeing that the people that are moving into the community are more active than they maybe were 20 years ago?
Maryland's probably in her early 30s,
Well, I
so
know,
that's probably she's probably like, wait a minute.
I feel like people are aging more gracefully and they're staying healthier. I mean, Dad, honestly, you're 83 years old and you're in that gym probably.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I bet you're. How many days a week are you in that gym? Almost every day.
I go every day. I try to go every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, good for you. There's so many people that have just like, they're sitting on the porch waiting for the end, and you're not doing that. You're out there kicking butt and taking names.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
We see it. I always tell them, we're so proud of you. You got up and you went, and that's a win all on its own.
Yeah.
So
This might be a little sensitive, but have you had people that have moved in and you get a sense that they're sort of like parking themselves for their end of life? That they've just sort of like resolved to the fact that the end is near and that they're not going to really push things too much?
no.
You haven't seen that?
We
Good.
haven't.
I'm
Yeah,
glad.
we
I'm
haven't
glad
seen
to hear
it.
that.
We've seen shyer residents for
Uh-huh.
sure. Especially leaving their families or
Yeah.
leaving their home of all those years. But then we also see them evolve, and that's so neat to be able to see them start to
Yeah.
come out of their homes and partake more in our events, and maybe go down, grab a cup of coffee. So it's quite the opposite. Actually, we've seen more of a, I'm going to live at Jovie and be able to enjoy all of the amenities
Yeah.
and everything that comes with it.
I think that is probably because of the atmosphere that you and Audra and Sydney create, though, where people, and Dad's nodding his head, that you create this atmosphere where people feel hope again and they want to participate and they want to still do big things in